There is something important you need to hear today. Not loudly, not urgently, but gently. Your life is not falling apart. Your mind is simply exhausted. Many people wake up every morning with a strange weight in their chest. Not pain exactly, but pressure. A feeling that says, I should be somewhere else by now. I should feel better than this. I should have figured life out. But life was never asking you to figure it out. It was asking you to be here. And the reason you feel so tired is not because life is too hard, but because your mind refuses to stop running. If that lands in your body, even a little, just know this moment is not about fixing anything. It's about seeing what's been happening with a little more kindness. Look closely at your experience. Your body may be sitting still. Your surroundings may be quiet. But inside, the mind is noisy. It jumps from memory to memory, from regret to worry, from what went wrong to what might go wrong next. In Buddhism, this isn't seen as a personal failure. It's simply called the untrained mind, a mind that believes constant thinking equals safety. But safety does not come from thinking more. It comes from presence. The mind was meant to be a tool, but somewhere along the way, it became a master. And masters that never rest eventually drain everything beneath them. Maybe you know that feeling, like even your free time isn't free. Even when nothing is happening, something is happening in your head. There's a moment in American history that helps me understand this. In early March of 1933, during the Great Depression, the banking system was in panic. Banks across the country closed for days, what became known as the National Bank Holiday. People didn't just lose money, they lost certainty. They lost the feeling that tomorrow was predictable. And when the banks began reopening about a week later, something striking happened. Depositors stood in line, not to take money out, but to bring their cash back in. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because fear softened just enough for trust to return. I think about those lines sometimes because that's what our minds do too. When the inner world feels unsafe, the mind withdraws. It hoards control, it hoards worry, it hoards preparation. And then we wonder why we're tired. Here is a truth that quietly changes everything. Life itself is not the source of your suffering. Resistance is. Pain happens, loss happens, uncertainty happens. But suffering begins when the mind says, "This should not be happening." You replay moments that are already gone. You argue with realities that cannot be changed. You demand certainty from a world that was never meant to give it. And slowly, gently, you become tired of your own thoughts. This is not weakness. This is wisdom knocking. In Buddhism, there's a simple image for this. Pain is like the first arrow. It hits and it hurts. Then the mind picks up a second arrow, the story, the protest, the replay, and that second arrow can hurt even more. Not because you're doing life wrong, but because the mind is trying to protect you with the only method it knows: more thinking. And if you lived through the fall of 2008, you may remember how quickly the air changed. A major financial institution, Lehman Brothers, collapsed on September 15th, 2008, and the country felt that drop in the stomach. Even people who didn't follow the markets could feel it in conversations, in job sites, in the way families spoke at dinner. For many, it wasn't just money. It was the sense that the ground could move under you without warning. And what did our minds do? They ran. They tried to calculate the future. They tried to guarantee safety with thought. But the future doesn't obey thinking. It never did. So the mind runs, and the body pays the bill. The Buddha offered one of the most liberating insights ever spoken. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts arise due to conditions. They pass when conditions change. They are events, not identities. But when a thought appears saying, "I'm not enough," most people don't observe it. They merge with it. They live inside it. They build a life around it. Freedom begins the moment you notice a thought without following it. Like watching a leaf float down a river. You don't chase it. You don't fight it. You simply let it pass. And it's subtle. Because the mind will insist, no, this one is important, this one is true, this one is me. But what if it's just weather? What if it's just a passing system moving through? Not everything the mind says deserves your belief. Not everything it says deserves your energy. Let's pause together for a moment. No technique, no goal, just awareness. Notice the breath entering the body. Notice it leaving. Nothing more. This is not something you do. This is something you allow. Peace is not created. It is revealed when effort stops. The mind has been holding everything too tightly. For once, let it loosen its grip. And if the mind keeps talking, that's okay. The point isn't to force quiet. The point is to recognize a thought is appearing, and you don't have to follow it. So much of our exhaustion comes from chasing an invisible finish line. I'll rest when I succeed. I'll be peaceful when I heal. I'll be happy when I improve myself. But the mind never stops moving the target. Buddhism does not teach self-perfection. It teaches self-seeing. And when the struggle to fix yourself softens, even slightly, something remarkable happens. You soften. You breathe. You realize that awareness itself was never broken. It was just covered by speed, by pressure, by the habit of resistance. So if today feels heavy, if your thoughts feel loud, if your heart feels tired, remember this: your life is not asking you to do more. It is asking you to stop carrying what was never yours. You don't need to escape your life. You don't need to conquer your mind. You only need to stop believing that every thought deserves your attention. And in that gentle stopping, life becomes light again. Just for this moment, let here be enough.